You gotta click. Okay. All right. Middle of Chaf Tes Amud Aleph. Chaf Tes Amud Aleph in the middle. Amar Rav Huna. Shalei Shanim She'amru. The 3 years that they said, meaning that chazaka, if someone is utilizing the fruits of land for 3 years, then even without proof of buying it, like a document, we can still assume that it's theirs because they were using it for 3 years, and we're saying that the original owner would not have let it slide if indeed it was stolen as opposed to sold. Amar Rav Huna, Shalei Shanim She'amru, that which the rabbis said that 3 years is a chazaka, that's only Vehu Sha'achlan Ritzufais. They need to be a consecutive 3 years. Okay. My Kamash Malan. What's the Chiddush? Tanina, it's our Mishnah. Chazkasan Shalishanimiyah. 3 full years. Okay, the Gemara says, Maudatema, you could have said, Miyayim Liyayim Lafukim Mikutais. Maybe Miyayim Liyayim, meaning that they need to be fully 3 years, means as opposed to a little bit of a year here, a little bit of a year here, a little bit of a year here, a little bit of a year here. You might have thought that. Kamash Malan, that's just to say they shouldn't be actually missing pieces. But as long as you have 3 years, even if they're divided, that would still qualify. Kamash Malan. That's why it's saying no. All right, whatever. We're just going to do this. Zok the Rashbam. Shachan Ritzufa, it's got to be consecutive. The guy ate it for 1 year, abandoned it for the second year. And did years 3 and 4. The owner of the field could say, hey, that's mine. I never sold it to you. Why didn't you say anything? Well, the reason I didn't actually protest, you didn't do anything with it for the second year. Revealing your thoughts to Lavdi Dachavai. That isn't really yours. So you didn't use it. The Gemara, still in the Rashbam, you might have thought the mission is just coming to exclude actually where the time is missing as opposed to as opposed to spread out. Where it's not exactly 3 years, it's less. But that's, and what it's saying, it would still allow them to have gaps. My dear Rav Huna agrees that it would be a chazaka even though there's break. Okay, so yeah. So we're talking about where that they're saying who should give this rent to. So Rav Ashi said back to Rav Yemar, Daini Jishfili, She'ena Bekian Bedin, Daini Hachi, Lekabel Eidos Elim, Kvar Nos Nuschar Habayis, Lamasker, Me'olam B'chag Avna Loi Arirov. What does Jishfili mean, though? Low judges? Mushpalim, Rabbeinu Gershom says. Okay. Pathetic judges. Okay. Amar Marzotra. V'ita and V'amar Leisu Tresadi Lasudi Le the Darbeit Lashni V'amar Valelia Tanase Tai No. Okay. Zokta Rashbam, some context. Amar Marzotra Ita and Milsvan Peinav Shahi. This is a new part of the Gemara. The Pshitale Lamar Zotra, Davagad the Bokal and Nachamarilla, Gabashan Mitzvah, Afilachi, and Machav, and it's a Machzak, Lavi Yedim Sheed, the Befer Shalayam and Valela, is Elia Yidu, Stam Shru, Darkim Moshanim, Umistama, Imbiyamim Darba, Bay, Apalela is Darba. So Marzotra is saying that typically witnesses about 3 years are good, and you don't need actual proof about day and night. We're going to assume it. If there's witnesses about the day, then we're going to assume about the night. You have aides about the day, good. So we'll assume it's for night also. That if the original owner says, "V'amar Aisu Sadi," I demand witnesses about nighttime also. Oh, now we're going to ask for it. Tana sai taina. But Sarich Sheavayu Adam Shalelis Viyamim to give it a time this Bari to go around here. Isa Shlai Darbalelis Babasi. And if the original owner says, I saw he did not live there at night. That's why I didn't protest at all. The Ein Chazkas Chazaka, Lakach, and I see Sadi, the Darbate Lash and Baby Mamim Balelia, Tokach Shalavi Adam Makrish of Lemaloi Shayalem. So I just want to check one thing. Shanti? Okay. Weiter. So again, but if the original owner says, bring 2 witnesses last week to testify, lay for him, they lived there for 3 years, by day and by night, then that argument is indeed a good argument. And he would need to bring Edom for that. But Marzotra agrees that if the original owner, only if the original owner would say, I demand proof about the nights also, we would then expect it. But Marzotra agrees by someone who is a traveling merchant peddler. And even if he didn't make that argument, we will make the claim on his behalf. The Tantan say Taina Avalon like Nitan Bishvila, my dear Hadavi, Ma'are Rechel, Master by Yara, Slim Karkishu, they Nashamini Kaisa, Lirakim, is Man Arech, Bavagav Leitain, Lysu Maxik Sadi, the Darbar to Visiam and Valila, Nantanin and Lay, the Dilmishim to Lake Via Bimatex, like Zebbe Bayside. Maybe the other guy moved in because the seller wasn't usually in the city. And the squatter would sneak out whenever the peddler owner would show up periodically. So you better prove he never left even one night. The Liger Sinanu Rava. Rashbam says, don't have the Gemara say that Rava agrees about this. Rav wasn't talking about who makes the claim. But the and all the things that Rava was saying before. Chavra Islay. Wait. So Rav Huna was the one who said it has to be Ritzufais, but he was never talking about who tainas it. And when Rava was saying things, where's Rava defending Rav Huna? So we're saying that Rava said it's two people who testify that we were there by day or by night, but he didn't say anything about who is going to be tainaing that you need to have Edom for that. And also Rava was saying it in Rav Huna, so we should have said it in Rav Huna. Weiter. Umayde Rav Huna. Bachanusa de Mechuza. And Rav Huna, who said it has to be Ritzufais, agrees that by something like a grocery in Mechuza, it's not a 24-hour pharmacy. It's only meant for the daytime. That's not meant for nighttime, that you don't have to be there 24/7. Okay. Rami Bar Chama, Rav Ukva Bar Chama. All right, Rav Chama's two sons, it sounds like, Rami and Rav Ukva. They bought a maidservant together. Mar Ishtamish Barishanesh Shalishis Vachamishis. One of them used her in years 1, 3, 5. Mar Ishtamish Bashnir Vish Vishishis. And the other one used her in years 2, 4, 6. Nafak Irari Lava. Then the original owner claimed it was his. Also, Rava. They came before Rava. Omar Lo, he said to them, my time of disuachi. Why did you do that? Why did you go every other year? That none of you should have a claim on her because you didn't have her for long enough. Kablam. So it's not a chazaka for you. It ain't going to be a chazaka at all for anyone else either. But the Gemara continues like, that's only if there wasn't an itra written, because if there was, then that's something that the original alleged seller would have heard about. Bam itra shtarchaluka, an official document dividing up when they would be using her. Uva edem shtar shana. So now, Yesh Mefarshim, Rashbam says, there are those who explain, Kala Isla, you would have heard about it, Vayilelim Chais Miyad, Vilemichola, Altar Avi Chazaka, Dikamishem Machra, La Befanenu Dame. That's intense. Shreinicham La Viedim, the guy let the original owner is allowing them to bring witnesses. Vichlev Alehashtar, Chaluka Vishasak, Inami. Inami, the Rashbam, I think, brings a different approach. Once you have both of these things, number one, you have Shnei Chazaka Mefuzaris. You do have the years of Chazaka, albeit split up ones. The Etira and a star about it, Ikakalo Uk. The Chazaka Gemura Dame, Darlem Chaslem, Ichavei Nirali Klal. So these are two very, very different ways of looking at it, and Rashbam rejects them both. One way is, as soon as they write the shtar, bam, it's a chazaka, even though it wasn't 3 years. Another pshat, you need 6 years. No. Rashbam says after 3 years, it's a chazaka. Because between the two of them, because you have witnesses and you have a star between them. And Alma Marav Avagav to call Achali Machzik Alashana Achas, Mitzar from Talashana Mlachazaka, Mishum Dimikach Starka, so Achanami Leshnov, and a time of Davi Chazaka, Shaylema Ireland, Chesek Shalish, Shanavani Yachalemar, Bishul Shurisi, Machzik, Bedilo Gemachisi, she savor like Kach, Atamaisim, Shatamiriam, Lachzik, Shana Mitsufa, Shashtar Mechiach, Shalay Bishul Kainoisim. So Bishul Kainoisim, Elashamanas Ken Cholkush, Ken you Mishtamshen Vechain Ikar. Okay, weiter. Amarava Akla Kula. If a guy had a large field and he was eating and using it for 3 years, chutz mibeis reiva, except from a very small portion of the field. Kana Kula chutz mibeis reiva. So we can assume that he bought all of it with the years of chazak, except for that part. Zot l'Rashbam chutz mibeis reiva by sisadesh le'nevad b'vlei nizra. Amar Ravuna, Ravuna bridge of Yeshua, by Amran, Elo de Bas Zariyahi. And when do we say that he didn't get that quarter of a kav area? When it was plantable. Avalav, I'm assuming the Bach would also say Bas Zariyahi over here. Kanilagavara, he'll get the whole thing. The Barzia is a crash bomb. The Amar Lady Dachavoya Malizaris, Velkachle Machisi. Maskavlar of Bevai Barabaye, Frector Bevai Barabaye. Elameata Tsuma Bemeyikna. How is it possible to acquire barren bedrock? Elameata Lekech Mechaveroi Tsunma. Troshin b'may konila b'izechil sheshal shanim mayav in a basriya v'cheine kanitzav amaras sham b'meisav lirvayt v'liras oilishtichas peiraisav. Isn't he going? How are you going to demonstrate if you buy unplantable rocky land that it's yours? The only way to show it's yours is by using it. Okay, so you're not planting it, so you keep animals there, mishtacha ba'peri, and spread out produce to dry. He should have done that, says Rebbe Bar Abaye, and therefore he's arguing on Rafuna Bridge of Yeshua that even if it's unplantable, it still doesn't come along with the rest of the field. Period. All right, are we going to start having lots of stories? There's a guy who said to his friend, someone else, my boy, Bahai Besa, what are you doing in this house? My house. Omar Le, the other guy said, Minach Zavinte, I bought it from you. And I ate it for 3 years. Omar Le, the original owner said, what? Ana b'shchunei gavoy havoy. B'shchunei gavoy havoy. What's that mean? Sagt Rashbam, I was in the innermost rooms. I was in a 3-year meditation retreat. Oh, no. I read that wrong. Sorry. He's like, dude, I was living in the inner chamber of the house and I was walking through it. I had no reason to say, yo, dude, that's my house, because I was walking through it. Also, look at Rav Nachman. So they came to Rav Nachman. Amalei said to him, Zil bror prove that you were there without him there. Amalei lamachzik zil bror havi edim shedarta b'bayis levadcha gemashanim b'loi oisai sheba imcha badin kedin kolches gemashanim shetzarach lavi edim shechzik b'achal gemura. Amalei Rava asked Rav Nachman, Hachi Dina? That's the way you're judging this? Haimetzi mechaveri olavaraya. It's the guy has lived there for 3 years, so it's on the original owner to prove it. The Rashbam Shistamishimai. It's for Layla Rav, the Kevin Show, Adam was there, Mochsach Shishtamish by Shalishanim, in Lanu Lachu Shamagam, Zaya Imai of Shamano, Vilti Haya. I'm paraphrasing from Avimelech and Bereshis. By Evlim Takamelach, Shayalay Edas the Ma'arer, the Baiseh Shalai Haya. Obviously, we have proof that it used to belong to the guy who's saying, yo, that's still mine. So they have Nachman by the Damach, Ziknem, and Blay Raya, Shebeshasar, Beshit, there the boy Amar Shliyahu Meyalam, Kiamarnami, Minach Zavinta Mehemen. If we have no evidence at all that it belonged to the original guy, so the guy living there now could have just said, it's been mine forever. So, just as he's acknowledging that it was sold to him, doesn't mess him over if the other guy doesn't have any actual proof of that. Correct the Gemara, it's a stira, a double stira. Baramid Rava de Rava, Baramid Rav Nachman de Rav Nachman. We have Rava contradicting Rava, and Rav Nachman contradicting Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman here who had said, yes, you can demand proof that you lived there, that the guy was living, you have to bring proof that you were living there without this claimant also. And Rava, who was saying, it should not be on him to prove that. They're both contradicting their views in other places. Because there's this guy, he said to his friend, Kol nichsi de Beibar Sisen, bezavnina lach. I'm selling you everything of mine that's called, that has the name, that it belongs to the Beibar Sisen. There's a guy named Bar Sisen. I bought a lot of different lands from him, and I'm selling all of the Bar Sisen lands to you. One of those fields happened to also be called the Bay Bar Sisen. But Omar Le, but the seller said, whoa, not that one. Halad de Bar Sisen, that one actually isn't something I bought from them. The Kru Yehud Mikari de Bar Sisen happens to be called that also, for whatever reason. The Mikari de Bar Sisen, Kakar Live in Yodua, Imkanami Bar Sisen, Levikach Nikris Kane. He doesn't know if maybe he indeed had bought it from them. Maybe he inherited it, and that's always what it's been called. Also, look at Rav Nachman. This case came for Rav Nachman, and Ukma b'da d'lekeach. Rav Nachman said it goes to the one who bought everything. Ukma d'lekeach. First time, look at lady day rami look love the Beibar the love. The Beibar Sisani. Amalei Rava said, Tina Hachi, is that the rule? Hamaitzi mechaveri alavaraya. How did you take it away from the original owner. Kasha de Rava, Kasha de Rav Nachman de Rav Nachman. So Rava and Rava contradict, Rav Nachman contradicts. Why? But the Rashbam, Kasha de Rava, Kasha de Nachman de Rav Nachman. De Lamoki Rav Nachman bi'ara meicher. For Rava bi'ara lekech vacha ipcha. In the story before, where the guy was claiming, oh, I had been walking through. Well, the original owner was saying, I was walking through. And Rav Nachman said, yep, we are not going to let the alleged buyer keep it until he proves that the other guy wasn't there. And here Rav Nachman is giving it to the buyer. And Rava said, what? To keep it with the original owner. And here he's saying to give it to the new guy. And here he's saying that stays with the original owner. What's the Gemara answers? Rava lekasha. Rava is not a kasha on Rava. Hasam in the first case. Well, I don't know which one's hacha, which one's hasam. Hasam. The seller is still holding on to the stuff, and therefore we're going to keep it by him. But here the alleged buyer has been living there for 3 years, so that's when he submits a chavel faraya. It would be the buyers. So Rava is not a steer because he's keeping it where it is. By Chazaka, the alleged buyer has been there. By Bebar Sisin, the seller is still holding on to it. Rav Nachman's also not a kash. Rav Nachman said on one hand, we're going to say, yeah, Mr. Buyer, you're going to have to prove that the guy wasn't there, as opposed to saying, yep, he gets it, even though we're not really sure about the Bebar Sisin kind of it. Awesome. Came into Amar Lei the Bebar Sisin, and Bekai the Bebar Sisin, only the Deiraim is glued to love the Bebar Sisin. If he says, I'm selling you all my things that are the Bebar Sisin, and this is also called the Bebar Sisin, well, you're going to have to prove that it isn't. As opposed to here, where the owner was saying, I've been walking through the whole time. Let's say the buyer had a shtar. Would still say, okay, but please demonstrate that your shtar is good. So here also, please demonstrate that your chazaka is good. And this is where Izvahadar is going to add the word bay a few times, even though it's not necessary to do it. Mi bar season the kachte. No reason to change that as father. Oh, the day rami the gluye lavi raya the la mi bar season la khavim yavi edem di kriye. Vim yavi edem di kriye who to mi karyachi. V'loi mi hani sadish lakach mi bar season who. Then mekminan la biade. Da pshitala and died the amar le nechsi be bar season is a min la chachik amar nechsi shekanisi mi men of le nechsi shalai kanisi men afi shnekre and kain. Kachnes hashita. To the pasloi. The original alleged seller wants to say no such thing. And the chazak of 3 years is instead of a star. The same way if the guy would be saying, prove your star is good, he would have to. We also say, prove your chazaka is good. So we're saying Rav on Rav is not a kasha. Rav is saying to keep it where it is. By Bebar Sisin, it's still by the seller, as opposed to Chazaka, the new alleged buyers living there. Rav Nachman never saying is not a steer. Rav Nachman by Bebar Sisin said give it to him because he said he's selling all those things, and it's called that. So unless you prove otherwise, the sale goes through. As opposed to where the guy's living in a house. Shalosh Shanim are b'makom shtar, and the same you have to be mekayim shtar. You have to demonstrate that this chazak was a chazak gemura. Uvani trei uvdi. The Rashbam is paskening for Lanker of Nachman. The chazak avasi bedina v'chein paisken perushay be'er b'chanina yishraimi. Okay, let's do another story. A guy said to his friend, my boys, my besa, what you doing in this house? He said, I bought it from you, and I ate it for 3 years. And the original owner's like, no, you didn't. Oh, yeah, then why'd you let me eat it for 3 years and not say anything? Oh, I was in far-off marketplaces, Zogt the Rashba, my boys by basis, Shakal Yadin Shishaliya, Malaya Nob, Shiki Barayavoy, the Eretz Merchakim. Makim Sheina Shiaris Mitsuyais, there aren't like caravans coming along bringing the news. Vayadati, I had no idea you were there, V'lachen Machisi. Utam Beperkan, I be Ud, Vexel Begal, and Akvakachi, may be Medina by some Malchus, Avu, Shiaris Mitsuyais. Period. Inami kalok mo b'shas chir mafilo b'yis medina kalakama by perkim chem perishu againim perish benu chanan alav makom shashars mitzuyos v'lekachira memazitoin achit kam lam beperkin machzikim bin nechse beireach machash b'fanav avyu machav itoin leyadati shech sekish pleni bekarka shali ulekach lemachisi and ne'aman tekich terminan machash b'fanav avyu machav chaver islev yemile lemachzik. Kamaikain Amrulazesha, the Machamachim Kagshlay, Hayo, Shars Mitsuyas, V'chein Halacha. Omar Le, the guy who was the Machzik said, V'ha Isli Sadi, but I got witnesses to call Shata V'asya Tlasin Yaimi, that every year you actually came back to this area every 30 days. Omar Le, the original owner said, Tlasin Yaimim B'shukaya V'turidin, I only came back for local market stuff, and I still had no idea what was going on here. Sagt Rashi, the Rashbam, B'shukaya v'tarid nolim kor s'chayrasi v'liknes acheres v'yadati shata darbe basic grand cheish loy bayis acher bayis oyer shaya mit achsen sham kol hamidim yesh farshim b'shukaya v'tarid navlei hayli p'nai lim chayzav v'yadati v'nanir b'einai Amar Rav said Ovid in Ishkot Lasin Yaimi Tarid B'shuka. That's normal that he's busy with the marketplace for 30 days, period. I think we're going to stop here. Shkoyach.